Welcome to another episode of A Table in the Corner. I am chatting to Jess Van Dyk today, and she told me that her mom wants me to call her Jessica Van Dyk. Is that right?
Yes. Where I'm from,
For mom.
yeah, but no, I'm Jess. I'm
Jess.
Chef Jess. Unfortunately,
Chef
it's
Jess.
changed.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's amazing to be chatting to you.
No, it's so cool to be asked to be here. I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm a big fan of this building and of all the things I've read, and I've never managed to eat at your restaurant.
All good. There's so many of us to get to. I understand.
But there are some special ones, and you rank in the special ones.
Oh,
Everyone
wow.
tells me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, let's get into this chat for today and talk to you about how you found your way into kitchens. Where did it start for you?
I think I just had a knack for food and cooking always wanted to stir a pot when my mom or granny was cooking. My grandmother was a really, really good cook. Now, I think while I was in chef school and in kitchens, I saw how far ahead of her time she was. You know, back then there was like cookbooks and they would share recipes and tricks, but there was things she was doing that only the professionals or the really high up people I feel
But
knew.
I mean, because didn't you grow up in like Kuruman?
Yeah, and she, I mean,
How did she know?
I don't know. Also, I think natural ability,
Yeah.
love to be in the kitchen. People always used to say how people would just park it because they were on a farm for a long time, and
Yeah.
people would just visit for the weekend. And it's not like they had great meals, but before you knew it, the tables would be like
Groaning under
groaning under food. And
Yeah.
people would be like, where did she, where did
how'd
everything
she
come
do
from?
this? Yeah.
Because it's not like she expected people. There wasn't really money for all of it, but there was always plenty of food, plenty of sleeping space. The hospitality, I think, was just a natural thing in our family.
I mean, for a lot of chefs, how that goes is that you cook with your mom, you cook with your gran, you find a love for it, your fingers have a touch
Yeah.
for it, and then and at some point, what did you decide just to go to cooking school?
So then in high school, or actually primary school, towards the last 2 years of primary school, we got BBC Food, and I was obsessed with watching Already Steady Cook and, James Martin, Ashley Harriet, those
dudes,
I was obsessed.
I haven't thought about those chefs for a long time because they sort of fell off the map
They
as a new
have,
generation
but,
came in.
I had such a crush on James Martin. He was most the sweet pastry guy, and so where I was from, you didn't get mascarpone cheese or creme fraiche or the stuff they would be using.
Yeah.
And if we got fresh herbs, it's like rosemary, thyme, curly leaf parsley.
I mean, so back in those days in Kuruman, did they have to send a messenger to run?
Everyone used to joke it wasn't
With a
that
stick.
bad, but I think our shops did evolve later. I remember we got a big pick and pay, and it was the first time I saw fresh herbs and not like the whole array. There would be either basil or mint. My best friend's mom was also a big foodie, and she would go to Kimberley and buy like pesto from the Woolies food there. And so if I wanted to do anything in town, I could phone her and be like, "Do you have this in your pantry, or do you have a bit of basil for me, or whatever?" Because you didn't get everything there. Anyway, so fast forward. In grade 11, my dad told me about this restaurant in Jeffreys Bay, and the chef was from Silwood, and it's very niche and it's very small, and there's only 40 students that gets in a year. So never knew about any other chef school, really. I knew there was a chef school at Speed. I think it's ICA that used to be there.
Yes, they used to.
I knew about the Speed chef school, but I wanted to go to Silwood because it was the oldest and more niche, more small. And then, applied. My dad actually emailed the school without me knowing, and went for the interview, got it. And then I think in June, July holiday in my matric year, we came down to Cape Town, looked for an apartment.
And where did you do your stage or your internship?
So in first year, you're supposed to do a holiday placement in June, July.
Yeah.
And I remember, so the year prior, I was 2010, I went into Silwood, and 2009, Luke won or got number 12 in the world at La Colombe.
At the 50, yes.
And people, obviously, Corianne's so proud of all her alumni, and there was a lot of Silwood alumni in that kitchen. And I was like, there's restaurants and kitchens like that where I can go work. And in South Africa, like, I didn't know the restaurant world. I didn't know the world of restaurants.
Yeah,
so when I heard about La Colombe, I was obsessed. I was like, I have to go do my placement there. Everyone said, no, the hours are horrible. It's so strict. Don't go there for your placement. And I was just, I don't know, like,
because
gravitated towards
that La Colombe thing, you ended up at Le Petit Colombe.
No, I never did At Protege.
At Protege, sorry.
Yes.
You ended up at Protege as head chef.
Yes. So
Hello, so that obsession lasted quite a while.
no, very long. I was obsessed with Lollipops. I went there as a student. I then told that was in first year. I told Silwood I want to go back in my second year. My first placement in second year was La Colombe. I then also during the year, because I was very fond of the kitchen and the people, I would like go help out on Valentine's so the two people on different sections could have off for Valentine's dates.
Sweet.
So I would go full in on a section. Yeah, it was just there was a love and I don't want to say obsession, just like a real magnetic
thing for you about
yeah,
La Colombe.
yeah. And I stayed there. So my third year, Scott asked me to come do third year. I did it. During third year, I thought, okay, I want to go do the yachts afterwards.
And James Gog, was he?
So he was
Running
still
the
a
kitchen,
CDP at the time.
Okay.
During my third year, I think he became senior CDP. After that, he was sous chef.
He just moved up.
Yeah. So he was a year above me.
And at some stage, that love affair had to end. You left to open your own place because you came out of La Colombe kitchen. You went to Protege.
So I left Protege. I left La Colombe
La
to go
Colombe.
do the yachts eventually when I was a sous chef.
Ah,
So I left for like about a year and 2.5 years. James then asked me, they had prompted me for a few other, LBC opened and they needed me to go back to La Colombe. Foxcroft opened, they needed a sous chef. But I just didn't feel ready to go
It
back.
wasn't the moment.
I needed
Okay.
to change. Well, I needed a change of scenery for a bit. And when James phoned me, I was back from the yachts on holiday, and he phoned me saying, "Oh, do you want to go for a drink?" And I was like, "Something's up." And then eventually I said, we were at Peddlers, and I said, "Okay, well, what's up?"
what's the offer?
Because in my head I was like, "There's nothing they can really offer," And then he said, "Do you want to be head chef of La Colombe?" And I was like, "That." Going back, I wanted to come back to industry. The yachting world is amazing, but I felt like what I was doing didn't matter. Like people that, I don't know, students of mine was progressing in industry this side, and I was missing out.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to
And
come back.
what were yachts like? Did you do well out of it, but it just wasn't for you, or?
Yeah,
was it,
I mean, my
it's
crew was
lucrative,
the
right?
lifestyle's amazing.
Yeah,
the money is amazing. Depending on what yacht you're on, you either get a really cool yacht where you cook cool food, or you get really cool crew members. So I had very good crew members, but I was a sole chef for 12 crew and up to 15, 18 guests.
Yeah.
So, you get stretched quite far, and I'm used to working hard, but there was just, I wanted to come back and start making a mark. So when they offered me head chef La Colombe, came back, I was there for about 2 years, and also started feeling a bit, maybe I'm going to move. La Colombe's such a big operation. There's the executive chef, there's a chef owner, and then I was the head chef, but I felt like I was just, I wasn't being head chef. There was stuff that I wasn't being able to do yet, which I understand.
Yeah.
And then they offered me Protege, and I was like, that's
what you
my
wanna
stepping
do.
ground. I needed their guidance still, but I needed to move away a little.
And to operate independently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, so there was a lot of implementation, a lot of creative things that had to happen. Now you have to make takeaway boxes. Now you have to make hard decisions with staff.
Because, and that's the thing, people forget that even La Colombe had to make plans to survive and to keep their teams.
No, I would never want to be in that position.
No.
Having that many staff members, and it's core staff members. It's really hard. Anyway, so I was at Protege for about 2 years. Then a friend of mine who was sous chef with me at La Colombe, he had stopped cooking for 7 years, and he opened a shop with his girlfriend, and he eventually then went back into cooking. He got the head chef job at Ching Ching Tori,
Yes.
and everyone got COVID and actually passed away. And I remember when I heard he's in ICU, I don't know, something in my mind, because I was playing with all these ideas, and not ideas, it was just these things that kept turning, the seed was planted. And I remember, I don't know, the moment was like, he waited so long thinking he's going to have time to do his dream, and then he didn't.
They didn't.
And I always thought, maybe next year,
Yeah.
maybe. And I remember when I heard he's in ICU, and I said to myself, subconsciously or loud, I don't know, that if Asher doesn't make it, you have to take
You
the
have
plunge.
to take the plunge.
I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know, and
Yeah. Well,
I resigned a week later.
so that was heavy, right? close friend, COVID.
Yeah, I think it just
And
sometimes you need something that gives you perspective. You
Yeah.
know, we all get so in the grind that you forget time is limited or time is not given. And yeah, I had to send in my resignation letter. It was a difficult time because the Luck Long Group was opening the restaurant at the waterfront, so they were spreading their core staff quite thin.
yeah.
And
And you were a key member of the team.
I was, and I knew if I don't move with all those movements,
Yeah.
I will
You're
never want to leave them. I mean, Scott was like, "Oh well, it's still not good timing." I'm like, "I know, but it would be worse timing if I did it in December." That
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
like I needed to
exactly.
move with the movements, and then yeah, I finished. Didn't know where I was going, but I knew I wanted to open a restaurant in Stellenbosch.
So we're sitting now in the most beautiful building in Stellenbosch. It's gorgeous. It's an old post office. Yeah. How did you come to be here?
So I solved at home for like 2 days, not knowing how do you start opening a restaurant. I had no clue.
Because you'd always been functioning in the kitchen.
Yes.
You'd never been on the
And I, at
entrepreneurial
one
side of the
stage,
business,
you
right?
can ask my family. I out loud said, I'm always going to be a sous chef. I love being a sous chef. I like implementing someone else's vision, making sure the team is consistent, making that dream come true. But I always felt I didn't have my own creative eye, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know creatively how to put things on plates. That's how I felt.
But that's amazing because from the reviews and the chatter, you're so far from
But Protege helped a lot with that. I think
okay.
like spreading my wings, getting to grow in that department after COVID, especially coming back to cook in lockdown, and then I started implementing dishes at Protege, and I found my creative.
You know,
it
I
wasn't
understand.
okay. As fine as what like Lam was, but it was still pretty and elevated and whatever. So then I started driving to Stellenbosch. I was driving up and down the roads, and I had an idea of what I wanted.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have an
And why
established.
Stellenbosch? Sorry, that to interrupt.
I'm from a small town,
Yep.
and
Yes, okay.
I even when I was living in Franschhoek, I really liked Franschhoek, but it was quite far out. There's not really schools. The community is very broken because there's a lot of like overseas people that comes and goes,
Yes.
a lot of hospitality people, but there wasn't really community. Where I knew Stellenbosch had really good schools, very good culture, and enough of a plain Dorpy vibe with enough feet, enough tourists, enough money. You can't open a fine dining restaurant in a space that doesn't have enough feet.
Take it from me. We opened not a fine diner, but an elevated diner in Prince Albert. That was stupid.
No, I even toyed with the idea of like Greyton. Oh, so beautiful there. Like wouldn't you want to live where the horses just walk down the road? It's like idyllic. But business-wise, it wouldn't make
Madness,
sense.
yeah.
So I didn't know much about Stellenbosch, but I knew that kind of thing.
Like, was there a sign on the side of this building?
No, I actually went to look at different spaces across the road. And one of the agents, I didn't see a lot. I think I saw 3 spaces before this. They were all the size I thought I needed. Until I stood in there and I realized it's too small. But that means my rent that I put on my budget is going to be double.
Yeah.
So the space is too small. I'm not opening a sandwich shop. But also my budgets now don't make sense because everything is doubling. And then one of the agents actually said, I've got one more space. And he sent me the link, and I thought from the outside the building looked so boring. I didn't know the history of it. I was like, also I thought this was the corner on that side.
Oh, okay.
It's now a little bit better. It's more up and coming, but there is a side to Stellenbosch that you don't really want to settle in.
Yeah.
But I came to look, and from the outside I was like, oh. And I walked in and I was standing around about there. And when I looked back and I saw the windows and the door, it's all the original, like the brickwork. I was like, this can work. And by that time I already had a full Pinterest board. So that was on my Pinterest, the booths with the lights and the arches. And then the door and the windows had arches. And I was like, that works. And I was like, I want a bar that's an arch. So at first bar was going to be on this wall.
Yeah.
But then we moved it to fit the kitchen nicely. Yeah, and then the whole time I was like, no, it's too expensive, it's too big. I left. I then got my parents to come look. My dad walked in and he said, it's too small. I was like, what do you mean it's too small?
Because what do you seek now?
40, 45.
45,
yeah.
So
It is quite tight, but we optimize the space. Like, there's nothing we can do to make it, or there was no space wasted.
You signed on the dotted line. Let's jump forward. How did you go about like designing a menu? What was driving you with the menu and with the way you cook? Because I mean, it's not fine dining, but you call it fun dining,
Yes.
right? Because it's kind of a casual take
Yeah.
on small plates.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I always, growing up as well, my mom and I would go to a coffee shop, and we would order the quiche and a sandwich and we would share. So we've always liked choosing two of the best things or that stands out to
Take
us,
the
and then we
difference,
share.
Yeah.
So that's always been something that I grew up with and that we frequently do. We still do it today, whether it's a steakhouse or yeah. So I think that naturally just I wanted people to be able to share a lot of different things, and
Yeah.
me and my friends would go out, chefy friends, day out, you go splurge and you eat all the lekker things. So let's say we go to an Indian restaurant, you would choose all the things and then you share and you're like, mid-bite, you're like, did you try that? Or try that sambal with this.
Yeah.
So I wanted that kind of interaction around the table.
Okay.
But also it came quite subconsciously. Some of the stuff that came together wasn't planned. I didn't have it written down. It really came authentically, and it's so. But I still get a bit emotional about it if I think about it. Because it wasn't planned and it worked out so well. Like the color palettes and the uniforms and anything. So that's how that came about. Menu items at the time was, what do I like to eat? I really love mac and cheese. I always make loaded mac and cheese at home. Again, bit of a indulgent.
Yes.
But
so actually, that's the next thing that I wanted to know is that. I mean, what if you were to choose a dish on your menu that kind of talks to how Chef Jess cooks, or talks to how you want people to enjoy post and pepper, what would it be? What typifies what you do, who you are?
I think at the moment, the two dishes. I'd say there's two. So our signature dish is the pork lollipops.
Okay.
So I really love a chicken wing or a rib. So I like meat on the bone.
Yes.
And it used to be lamb belly. Got a bit expensive and too small, and the sizing was inconsistent. But I wanted the same dish we made with lamb ribs, and I tried to clean the bone and because.
So you just pick it up and eat it.
Yes. And I just couldn't get it pretty. I couldn't get it consistently looking nice.
I can imagine that would be difficult. Yeah.
And I then took it off the bone, cooked it, pressed it, and layered it, and plated it. And I was like, no, you need to. So then I put a skewer in it, and that's how the lollipop was born. But then eventually, it changed to pork lollipop because of the sizing.
Yes.
So I would say that it's two huppies.
Yeah.
You take one, I take one. Or you haven't taken one, I take my bite. I'm like, you need to try that, and then we both share that moment. So I'd say, that's why it's still on the menu.
So there are two things there, because that, and sorry, I'll let you go on the next one. But the two things there. So there's the very, very clear intention that it be shared.
Yes.
That's one thing. But also the amount of work you do to get to it.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Yes.
Right. Is that you? Are you a perfectionist as a chef?
No, I think sometimes I feel
process driven.
Sometimes I feel like I wish I can go back into a alarm kitchen or a very fine dining kitchen, because there's certain things that you do start slacking on, just because I also know what it costs to chuck that in the bin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's certain things where I feel I have relaxed a bit, and made it easier, or like I know how to cover it up, but at the same time it's just food, and I don't want to be at the level where it gets that
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other dish is the prawn. So it's a butter roti. We cut the roti in half, so it's two big pieces of roti, and then it's the Cape Malay prawn dish, and you scoop it, you make like your own prawn salumi almost.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, you take a roti, I take a roti, and we go.
So there's enough for both of you because
Exactly.
of the chef.
So all of it is plated to be enough for two. And then also the pork, I think there's always going to be offcuts. It's always
Yeah.
going to be on the menu. So there will always be a dish that uses trimmings. So our previous mac and cheese had a Spanish style pork ragu. So we would make a really good base, and some of the trimmings
delicious.
would be cut up and then cooked into this sticky, ragu. At the moment, we have a pork raviolo. So the trimmings get cooked into the sticky onion marmalade, Jerusalem artichoke.
It's very interesting that the sort of shared plate style does allow a chef to sort of fiddle a lot
Yes.
with what's left in the kitchen, right?
I think so.
Because you can be
Yes.
creative
Yeah.
and put things in, like the pork trimmings
Mm.
going into mac.
Yes.
That's fantastic. And your diner's got, wow, what a fantastic dish, how
Yeah.
tasty. And you're kind of economizing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you have to. I think there's just so much wastage in this game, and like I said, there's certain things that justifies it, but when you start getting 5 liter containers of pork and you can't even use it all for star food,
yeah.
you can. So then you have to think, okay, can I make it better? How can I? Yeah, I mean that's where the business hat comes in, I suppose, and you learn as you go.
It's because it's so much a business, and
Yes.
here you are, you're an owner, operator, chef. So we get where you are and how you're operating, and you are sitting on a lot of wish lists and kind of being recognized for how you cook. Who are you recognizing? I mean, is there someone like a chef that you're following at the moment, or a local chef you think this one's killing it, or somewhere where you think people should be queuing outside to eat?
I mean, since the day I met him in the Luck Alarm kitchen, I was and am a bit obsessed with Ivor Jones. But I think, and he knows it, Mr. Jones.
Yes.
But I just feel his creative eye, the way he makes art on the plate, the way he sees ingredients and turns them into. I can make pretty plates, but he has the ability, to not just garnish it pretty. The actual ingredients is handled like art.
Right. And he does such deep dives into the origin, into how he sources it, what it does, what it tastes like. Does it taste like this if you braise it? Does it taste like
Yes. Creatively,
Amazing.
I always look at him, the way the colors, the powders, the plates, everything. But then he's like a dude as well.
He's nuts.
But then, I think, Uziri,
That's Nick Chorambos.
yes, Nick and he said Chef Aiden, so
Aiden.
also used to be like Alarm alumni. And they take what they've learned in fine dining and implement it in, the depth in their sauces and the balance. You can only learn when you've worked at the top,
And yet they're applying that technique to an ethnic cuisine, which is just amazing.
And I think you can't
It's
beat that.
Cypriot, yeah.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
No, there's so many good chefs. I can list them now. I think we are spoiled for choice at the moment. There's
no
so
doubt.
many restaurants on my to-do list, and then there's also so many local ones that I want to get back to because my friends are doing amazing things.
Well, so hit me with that. I mean, if you and your hubby want like a quiet night out and something delicious and not too fussy, where are you going?
It depends what you feel like. I love the Ikoma. I feel it's really good food, punchy. Then we also have really special restaurants around here. Misha and Dusk. They at the
So
top of the
interesting that Marco from Dear Karma also mentioned Misha. And I need to talk to him.
Yes. No, and the food just hits the spot. Like it's so balanced. It's fine dining and it's pretty, but everything's very well balanced.
Yeah.
And then there's the table of May, rye cards. How many?
Just goes on and
Yeah,
on.
I
This is a difficult one because you're not just a chef because it's a trade. You love food.
Oh yeah, I need to stop myself from spending all my money and all my time in restaurants. My waistline don't.
And are you traveling when do you close for winter?
Yeah, so this year I changed it up a little bit. So we only closed for 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks in winter. So it wasn't enough time to travel far.
Yeah.
I felt, if you go Asia side, it's like 2 to 3 days of your 10 days that's in the air. and then you're jet lagged. So I just felt spending that money doesn't.
That doesn't work.
Yeah. So I'm planning to do more trips next year, hopefully. And then this year we're also closing for Christmas. So I try to change things a bit. Last winter almost like really shook me in my boots.
Last
And
winter
I
was a
had
bad
to-
one for everyone.
And I mean, this winter was also very quiet, but I think I just learned a lot last year. So I implemented things and we worked harder, smarter, and now if this works, if this year's, works, then
Plans.
that's what we'll do. I also want
Because-
longevity in my workspace, and I'm not going to take Christmas off when my people have to work. So, if I want to be able to spend time with my husband or my family, then, and so do they, then we need to learn how to
There must be
navigate that.
balance. And I kind of think to myself, why? There are enough restaurants who want to trade at Christmas. Why do you have to? It's a special place to come
I'll
to.
be honest, I'm old school like that. I believe if you're in hospitality, you work all the big days. Not everyone, I've got a
Agrees.
great team, but not everyone feels like that, especially I think when you have little kids.
Yeah.
It gets harder, and I can now be the hard ass that says, oh, but hospitality, you work Christmas or you work Easter.
But when those little ones.
But when
are-
you're the one that has to
Yeah.
cook the Christmas food and wrap the presents, and if the mom's not there, it gets difficult.
It really is tough.
But I also feel it's something you signed up for. So if the restaurant you choose to work at trades, you have to be happy to trade.
So, the mention of Christmas brings us to treats.
Okay.
And I know in the preamble you said you've got a thing for mac and cheese. What's your comfort thing that you just like
I have
if you're
a
watching your
few.
Netflix or because I mean some people love I don't know they've got something from their memory of their mom's
Yeah.
and put jam on a
Yeah.
cracker or something. You know? What's your thing?
I love
that you-
pasta.
Yeah.
So my mom makes really good lasagna. So that's something growing up that I always loved. And mac and cheese, like I said, I like to zhuzh up a very rich and too hectic one at
Loaded
home. I
mac.
haven't done it in a long time, actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it. But, and then a chicken strip or a chicken nugget. I am unfortunately one of those people that really, if you give me sweet and sour, sweet chili sauce or
Free
a jalapeno.
bird.
Oh,
Free bird
Free
chicken
bird,
strips. What
we
the
swear
hell?
by those.
Yeah.
Even, if I really feel naughty on a Saturday night and it's my weekend, maybe a McDonald's
No.
dip, a nugget with a jalapeno dip. But
Listen, I mean,
I don't do that
I
very
know-
often.
I
I need to be in the
know-
mood for it.
I know top chefs and operators in Cape Town
Yes.
who swing by a late night KFC
Oh, there's
for
just-
a couple of burgers afterward.
And then I think my biggest thing, I make a really banging cheese toasty.
really,
Yeah. So
that's a good one.
very buttered, very toasted, whether it's cream cheese, cheddar, and crispy onions or pickled onions. Or, there's always the staples in the fridge.
Yeah,
I think that I probably do that more than chicken nugget, but I do love all of them. Yeah, fat kid at heart. Food is my passion. It's my life. Anything goes. And I'm one of those. I don't eat just to eat. I can have everything in the house to make a mac and cheese, but if I feel like Thai green curry now, then I'm gonna go get the stuff
Go
to
get
make
that,
Thai green curry.
because that's what you
or
feel like,
buy
yeah.
the Thai green curry. But yeah, I'm very specific as to if I feel like those flavors, textures, or
that's what you're gonna get. Chef Jess Van Dyk, thank you for being on the show. It was
Pleasure.
amazing of you to come on the show.
I
Thank
feel
you.
there's so much more we can talk about.
There's probably tons. We've got to kind of limit
Yeah.
it so everyone can squeeze their way
No, I get
listen
you.
on the way. Okay, that was Chef Jess Van Dyk from Post and Pepper Restaurant. If you're in Stellenbosch, make a booking and get yourself a table at the corner. Table in the corner?
Yes.
You get a table in. Are there tables
There
in the
is
corner?
tables in the corner.
Table in the corner at Post and Pepper. Thanks for listening.